This is the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of MetricsCart. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of MetricsCart. I'm your host, Shreshta, and today we have a MetricsCart exclusive episode. We are joined by one of our team members. It's Rohan Paul Philip. He's part of the product team and he works closely with brands. He knows the nitty gritty, the finer details for behind the scenes for the digital commerce success of brands. So we're going to hear all about what MetricsCart does and how MetricsCart really helps in making those right informed decisions in the e-commerce space for brands and agency leaders. So let's welcome Rohan. Rohan, thank you so much for joining us and very warm welcome to you. Thank you for taking out the time.
Hi, Shreshta. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be on the podcast finally.
Right. So before we get into the juicy parts of this conversation, how do we define digital shelf intelligence when it comes to our product decision making?
Yeah, so in 2025, I think the definition of digital shelf intelligence has shifted slightly.
Yeah.
So, with the increased adoption of these conversational LLMs and AI chatbots, I think the expectations of brands and agencies have shifted slightly. So earlier, these platforms used to be a medium to discover insights, but now I think these brands and agencies expect actionable recommendations directly from the platform.
Right.
Now, it may not be 100% accurate, but then they expect that nevertheless. You know, that's something that maybe they can translate into actionable decisions, or that can be something that they can investigate.
True.
So that's one shift that we see. The second shift is the data overload problems. You know, so earlier it used to be the more the data, the better. But now I think it's shifting away from being like you just have to cut through all the noise and just give them the data that they want.
Yeah.
So CXOs and brand e-commerce experts and brand managers, they want a dashboard that is extremely tailored or hyper personalized to their particular workflow. So that's another shift that we're seeing.
Yeah.
The third, I think, is related to the customer onboarding journey.
Yeah.
I think the general expectation is for it to be as frictionless as possible. So the expectation is that whenever you sign up for a platform, it's live from day one. You start seeing results from day one. You can't really have like a week, to configure the inputs, and then a week later you give them the results. So that's again another shift that we're seeing.
Now we have various levers when it comes to the digital shelf, the share of search and the rating and reviews and pricing. But and added to that makes this retail media so much hype right now. All of them are equally important. But do you feel something is underrated or overlooked at this point? Any of the solutions?
Yeah, I think when you talk about overlooked, right, I would say share of search is overlooked.
Right.
The reason that I'm saying that is because the customer search journeys have evolved like a lot with these, conversational LLMs. Earlier, I think you used to, if you had to buy, let's say, a phone under $1,000 or a laptop under $1,000, you used to go to Google and just search for that.
Yeah.
And then you would probably be directed to an article or a blog that gives you a few recommendations. But right now, if you search on Google the same thing, you would get like a Gemini prompt, and Gemini would actually give you a list of recommendations, and then you have that link right there itself to just go and click on it and buy. So I think it's become really important for brands to make sure that their products appear on that category in a particular retailer.
For sure.
So the reason I'm saying that is because Gemini usually takes the listings from Google Shopping. Now, Google Shopping is actually an aggregator, and it references listings from Amazon or Walmart or other marketplaces.
Yeah.
So unless a brand really optimizes their search on, let's say, these Amazon, Walmart, how do you make sure that, your recommendations actually trickle down to the customer, to the Gemini feed or any conversational LLM feed? So for that reason, I say that share of search is probably overlooked.
Yeah.
But then I would also say that one feature that is underrated is review monitoring. Again, everyone knows about review monitoring, but then I think people don't really realize how powerful it is. it's such an incredibly powerful source of customer feedback. It's easily available,
Yeah.
but then you've got a lot of use cases for it. You can get pricing level information. You can get supply chain level information. You can get uh, design feedback from it. You
Yeah.
can generate marketing content. You can know about your customer service. You can gauge your campaign effectiveness. There's just so many things that you can do with reviews.
Yeah.
And as a tech company, we're also just starting to scratch the surface of what it can do.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would say reviews are underrated and share of search is probably overlooked.
Makes so much of sense. Like, I completely agree with the review solution part because as we see, like, e-commerce is just 30 years old. And when we take a look back at legacy brand manufacturers, the household names, they became household names because it was all about brand recall, and they had to work on the mental availability of consumers. But right now, that's possible with reviews alone. Like, brands can do a lot about product research and conversions with reviews alone. So, and it's very common among the health and personal care and beauty brands. I see that.
Yeah, and an interesting thing here is that we generally see that these product innovations actually translate into actionable decisions in CPG companies.
So true. This is something I've heard from experts who come on the show, that that there are these regionally hyped trends that's going on globally, such as let's talk about matcha here. So again, that's a Japanese thing that's again translated globally. So all these insights are possible through reviews alone, I feel.
Yeah. So exactly like the example that you said, matcha or any given trend, you can easily, point that out or figure that out with using these review monitoring solutions. You can see the trends, you can see keywords that are being used, and all of that.
Yeah. What kind of feedback from brand and agency leaders are we seeing, what is shaping our solutions?
So I think most of the feature enhancements or feature extensions that we do, I think most of it is stemmed from customer feedback. So we make it a point. So whenever I take demos or whenever I showcase new features to a customer, I make it a point to ask them, is there anything that you might have wished differently on this particular feature?
Yeah.
Something that might have been a good to have
Right.
for this particular feature. And there's always someone on that panel who says, Rohan, what if we could do this as well? What if there was a button here as well? Something like that, something very simple as that. So like that, we've rolled out quite a few feature enhancements. So if I had to give you an example, we have a feature in our review monitoring module called brand comparison.
Yeah.
So that's actually like a marketing tool that you use. So you can basically pit two brands against each other,
Yeah.
get like an overview. You can see what the overall sentiment is. You can see what the NPS is and all of that. So I was showcasing this to a brand, and then one of the members on the panel actually told me that, you know what, Rohan, what would be even better is having like a product level comparison.
Yeah.
Because the reason that they said that is because the way that their teams are set up, they've got different teams or different product lines. So what they want to do is actually pit one product against a competitor product and then see what's working for them, what's not working for them, etc. So I think like a week later or something, we rolled out product comparison as well. So yeah, so like I was saying, customer feedback is really important to us, and we take that very seriously.
Yeah, that's so cool. And going a little bit more into details, when we compare a legacy brand manufacturer versus a high ticket brand, how do we shape our solutions for each of them? I'm sure the requirements are like very, very different.
Yeah. When you talk about legacy brands or let's say FMCG or any brand that's got a high volume of SKUs,
Yeah.
I think the challenge lies in the fact that they've got a large number of SKUs.
Yeah.
And then they might sell on 50 or 60 retailer platforms. So one challenge is having like a system that can handle these many requests. You need something that's scalable and reliable enough to handle so many requests.
Yeah.
And then you also need to have that sort of coverage.
Yeah.
When I talk about coverage, I'm talking about regions as well as retailer coverage. So if you've got like a pet food brand, you might need to add like like the Chewy or the Petco that sells only pet products. So you need that sort of coverage as well.
Yeah.
When talking about the other challenges that we see for these big brands is that whenever there's an issue, like these are like large volumes and they've got so many processes involved. So whenever there's an issue, you always need to flag it before it reaches the customer because it could be critical for them. So we've got multiple health checks in place to make sure that that does not, we flag it before it reaches the customer. So that's like when we talk about FMCG brands, these are the challenges that we see. And also another thing that I just want to add is that, when you interact with clients with big brands like these, usually what we see is that like I said, they might sell on 50, 60 retailer platforms. Now they might not have that, the web ID that we say, which is basically like the ID that you can use to construct URLs.
Right.
So that might not be readily available with these brand e-com managers that we often interact with. So it's incredibly difficult for them to go to the retailer and get that sort of information. So the general expectation is, product discovery should be handled by our side. It should be as frictionless as possible. Like I said, you need to start seeing results from day one.
Yeah.
So the general idea is that you go into their product catalog and we figure out where all do they sell. We have to get that data. So I think that's one of the challenges for these, FMCG or legacy brands or brands with high volume of SKUs. When you talk about high ticket brands, I think the focus is slightly more on the service aspect of it. I think they really value fast turnaround times. I think they value open communication channels. And I think the level of customizations is a little different. For high ticket brands, I think they need a lot of product level information, know. For FMCG or legacy brands, they might need like an overview of all the products. But for high ticket brands, product level information is very important. So there might be like a hyper personalization requirement for them. You need to, customize the dashboards, give them higher levels of granularity in the data. So I think that's how we kind of manage, both ends of the spectrum.
Makes so much of sense. I guess I would add also the fact that the regional aspect also needs to be taken care of when it comes to...
Yes, definitely. So when you talk about FMCG brands, they sell across different regions, right? So you need to make sure that, one of the websites, if Nestle's got a website in US, you need to take care of the Spain or the European website as well. So that's equally important,
So all of these digital shelf tech stacks, we all make this loud, bold claim that, ours is the best out there. But then data inaccuracy is a real challenge. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's actually a good question because we get this question asked a lot by brands and agencies. They ask us, what is the accuracy level that you can promise us? So there's no real way for us to measure this. So there's no quantifiable number for that. But what I would say is that, so there are two cases that can happen. When you talk about inaccuracy, it could either be wrong data or it could be incomplete data. Now, when you talk about wrong data, usually what we see is that those are often cases of, a different perception or a different perception by the brands and agencies. So, for example, if I have to give examples, there was one brand that recently saw like extreme violations for one of their products. So naturally, brands would obviously question the reliability of the source because when they were checking it on their websites, they were seeing that the prices were not what was reported. So again, we have, screenshots, we've got HTML cache, we've got multiple ways to actually verify this. So we did a little digging and we found out that it was actually, the data was actually correct. These retailers had actually advertised it at that low price. But then, like I said, so hours later when a brand checks, it might not be the same data because the retailer would have updated the price. Now, this might be due to ongoing sale, all of that. So there could be n number of reasons why, retailers update their pricing. It's very dynamic, right? So this is one of the cases where I said, the data was not wrong, but then it was like a perception issue or it's like a misinterpretation issue that happens. Another thing that commonly happens is that The input level data might be a little, there might be issues in that. So if I had to give you an example, so let's say you're like a company that sells rugs. Now you've got like a red color, you've got different colors and you've got different sizes. Now a red color rug with like a 10 by 14 size would have a different price.
Yeah.
A blue color rug with, let's say, a 9 by 12 size would have a different price.
Yeah.
So one time, one of the brands reported that for the same product, there were two prices being reported.
Yeah.
But in reality, those are actually two different products.
Yeah.
But then the input data had some sort of a mismatch, and then we resolved that. So, like I said, so I don't think there's maybe a very low possibility that the data is wrong.
Yeah.
It almost always is a case of misinterpretation or a perception issue. Now that being said, if we go back to the incomplete data issue, now that actually there's a chance of it happening because these retailer websites, they change their website structures pretty frequently. So we've got teams that monitor these requests. So whenever there's an issue, we try to resolve it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But we often see cases where these frequent website structure changes have actually affected the data,
Yeah.
causing the data to be incomplete. So I would say that
Yeah, makes sense. Now we all hate Mondays, and what really goes into our dashboard that kind of makes sets a brand manager at ease when they open it on a Monday?
I think customer feedback is key.
Yeah.
And as a company, we obviously rely
Yeah.
a lot on customer feedback. So like I said in the beginning, it's all about giving them what they want,
Right.
just cutting through all the noise, work with them to see what they actually need,
Yeah.
what is their workflow,
Yeah.
like who makes the decisions, how is that decision being taken. All of this information actually trickles down into making a dashboard that's actually usable
Makes
by
sense.
them. They want to have that data right there accessible. They don't want to have to go to a different tab or a different view to access the data.
Yeah.
It should be right there. Now I would say that benchmarking is really important for like a tool like this, because when you look at a metric, unless you compare it to something else, you can't really know if it's good or bad.
Right.
So benchmarking is extremely important, I would say. And then just the levels of granularity, like if usually we just need like a high level overview, but then on those rare occasions when you actually want to drill down or like dig deeper into something that's happened, then you need that granularity as well.
Yeah.
Now this is from the dashboard side, but from the UX side, we rely on user analytics. So we kind of make it a point to periodically check how the user is interacting with our platform.
Yeah.
Where are they not clicking, what buttons are they not using, what filters are they not using,
Yeah.
and then we make it a point to incorporate that into our UX or UI.
Makes sense. What's one thing that you're excited on the roadmap for MetricsCart? I know what the answer could be, but let's hear it for the audience.
Yeah, I think I'm just waiting for the point in time where you can actually go into the platform and just type out a simple question like, what happened to this particular SKU in the last 90 days?
Yeah.
Or it could be something as vague as, what do you think went wrong in the last 30 days? Why has there been a dip in the overall sentiment? Something as generic as that, and then it would give you the answer with all the data as context.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, but that's a little long-term thing.
Yeah.
From a short-term perspective, I would say that I'm excited about this particular report that we're working on. So it aims to give a CXO level overview.
Yeah.
So if you've got like a brand, if you've got a set of products, it'll tell you what's going wrong, what's not,
Yeah.
the overall sentiment, a lot of information that's actually useful for a CXO level.
Nice. What's been a wow moment for a brand or an agency leader when they went through the MetricsCart app?
A wow moment, I think, in general, when they see the speed at which we do things, that's generally like a wow moment for them.
Yeah.
And just whenever I interact with clients, they might have these casual comments that they leave. Like they would say that maybe this field name could be something different because we use that terminology in our company. Something as simple as that. I mean, I don't expect brands, they wouldn't expect that to be translated into like a feature extension as soon as that. So I think a few days later, when they see that the field has actually changed, that was like a wow moment for them. But yeah, generally just the speed at which we do things, I think it's a wow moment. We've incited that response.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what is actually setting MetricsCart apart in the industry?
Okay. So I would put that into two aspects. So one is the product aspect, and the other one is the service aspect. If you talk about the product aspect, obviously you need like a good infrastructure. So you need something that can handle FMCG clients with tens and thousands of SKUs and 60 or 100 plus retailers. And you also need the high ticket brands. So you need like a reliable and scalable infrastructure. So our infrastructure, we've built it in-house. We've been doing this for a very long time. And data collection even more so. We've been doing it for a very long time. So our infrastructure is pretty strong. And when it comes to the platform or the set of features, we make it a point to make sure that whatever the industry requires or whatever customer pain points are there, that is addressed through our platform. So we periodically do product research, user research. We take a lot of feedback from the customers to see if it's actually addressing their pain points, if there's any product or feature enhancement or addition that we have to do. So that's one of the things that we do. So that's the product aspect of it. But I think where we really get credit from these brands and agencies is the service aspect. So like I said, we as a company, we really believe in efficiency and speed. So we have highly efficient teams. There's no like unnecessary silos or barriers that prevent us from getting things done. So I think the easy answer to it would be we do things right and we do things fast. And I just want to share this that, our co-founder, he actually hands out his number to all of the clients. The idea is that whenever there's some issue, they can personally call him up, and then, something that needs attention, they can personally call him up. But he's always proud to say that till date, there's never been a distressed call from a brand or one of the clients. So I think that's
just awesome. And I think I would also add in a third point that we are very community driven, and we focus on sharing a lot of industry knowledge, the expertise. We connect with a lot of professionals in the space through our podcast. And maybe I take this as an opportunity to sort of soft launch a short video series we would be starting out soon, where we would share the kind of industry insights and developments very soon. So the last thing that I want to ask you is that MetricsCart is very soon rolling out quick commerce features. So what's happening there? And I'm very excited for this one.
Quick commerce is pretty booming right now. I mean, it's big in India, especially in the Indian market. It's on the rise, and we're getting a lot of questions about quick commerce. So as an industry, or it's very similar to e-commerce, but it's very different as well. I think the general challenges that are there in quick commerce is, one is the lack of information. So I think most of these in the e-commerce space, especially, you have the Amazon seller platform, the vendor platform. I think almost all of the other retailers have such platforms. So the sellers have some sort of a platform to get information. I think in quick commerce, the main challenge is that there's lack of information. There's no like a platform that gives you that's like a uniform source for all platforms combined. So that's one. The other thing is the hyper local granularity that you need. So zip code level information is extremely important in quick commerce. So you need like dark store level information. You need to know like what's the price in a particular zip code. You need to know what the stock levels are. You need to know what discounts are being offered there. So that's again another challenge. And coming to stock level, so that's the third challenge. So
I think that's a big challenge.
That might be the biggest challenge. So it's highly volatile. the stock levels and all of that has to be monitored quite frequently. I think the replenishment runs are being done as frequent as 3 times a day or 2 times a day.
Right.
So that basically means that a platform would have to do these checks multiple times a day.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other challenges as well. So we're trying to address all of these challenges. We're rolling out our quick commerce solutions, especially to address these challenges.
Yeah.
It's going to be rolled out very soon.
Nice. So before I leave you, I have one more fun question to ask you. So what's easier to crack? Is it the consumer behavior or the product itself?
Wow, I would be lying if I said I knew the answer to that.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think both are equally difficult. Like from a product aspect, so I'm a product person. So
Yeah.
I would, if I say that I've cracked, I cracked the product question today, tomorrow I might go back and wonder that, okay, maybe this could have been improved. So there's always a question of, it could have been improved.
Yeah. I guess 2025 was that year where things shifted a lot in a
Yeah.
product perspective,
Yeah,
also with
exactly.
AI boom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if we talk about the other aspect, like the consumer behavior aspect, even that has changed quite significantly.
yeah.
Like we talked in the beginning, the customer search journey has changed. The way that users are interacting with our platform, like I said, they want recommendations.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to predict and give them recommendations. And just the general trend of how users interact
Yeah.
or with the platform has changed.
Yeah.
So that's equally difficult as well. So I don't think I have an answer for that. I think both are equally difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you so much, Rohan, for taking out the time to join us. It was such a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure our audience would love the same.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We've come to the end of the episode. If you loved what you just listened to, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next Monday with a really awesome guest. Stay tuned until then.